And with me today is Sam Rayburn guide Gregg Grantland. And Gregg, you've got some lures laid out here in your boat. Kind of give us an idea. We're middle of May, post-spawn time here on Rayburn. What kind of lures can we be using out today, and what kind of cover do you plan on taking us to?
Well, we're going to probably start off today throwing a topwater lure, which is a pop-R. We're going to bring this over the top of the grass. And the reason for that, them old fish that are finished spawning and they're kind of healed up and they get a little hungry. And they'll chase these topwater lures over the grass beds like this, and you just take them and chug them along, and they just come up and explode on them sometime. It can be really a fun bait to fish this time of year.
Okay.
And then we'll probably, as the sun wears on, we'll probably drop a little deeper and fish a Carolina rig. And of course, everybody knows that Carolina rigging is a leader with the weight above it. And we're going to drag that in open water away from the grass and try to catch some of those fish that are schooled up, that are just ganged up on the ridges and the points, and try to get some good numbers out of those. And as we go on, maybe start flipping a jig, which, you know, you drop this down through the hydrilla, and this lake is covered with grass. And what we look for is points and guts. The fish kind of gather in those, and you try to go beneath the grass, and those fish are looking for shade. They're ambushing underneath the grass, and you drop these jigs down through them, and they just bang them.
Now, you got a heavy jig on here. I guess it's necessary for this grass you're talking about?
That's right. You have to penetrate the top layer of the grass, and once you do, it free falls through. And a lot of the time the strikes, as soon as it breaks through the layer of grass and starts free falling through it, it'll just grab a hold of it. You got to take some little practice, but it is it's a productive bait, especially from now on all through the summer. But it's really starting to come on now at the first part of the summer. And they'll see us catch a few fish on spinner baits. It's a bait that we can use. It covers lots of water, and the fish that are chasing shad and schooling and in and around those areas, spinner bait's going to be the key bait for that. And we're going to get some strikes on this stuff too.
Post-spawn bass, what can we expect out there today? Small bass, big bass, or what are we looking for out there?
It could surprise you. One day you can go out. It's just this time of year, you're not really looking for the large fish, so to speak, but numbers are really good. Large fish, if you do catch them this time of year, is a plus or a bonus. But generally, the first part of the summer is just larger numbers of fish. You catch just a whole group of fish, and that's mainly what we try to do.
You pretty much specialize in the deep water here in Sam Rayburn.
Yes.
What can we expect in deep water this time of year?
This time of year, you're going to expect a lot of numbers. You're going to go through a lot of small fish, Kentuckys, and then occasionally one about 3 or 4 pounds, and then some smaller fish, but what you're going to have is a lot of activity.
And what areas of the lake are we going to be fishing, basically, and kind of concentrate on?
Today we're going to try to start on the southern half of the lake. We're going to stay on the lower half, which is Needmore, Buck Bay. We're going to fish some Farmers Flats, which a lot of people know about, but those are really productive areas. They're a high concentration of fish and large grass beds, and they've got all the makings of a good spot.
Nice warm day.
It's a beautiful day.
Love bugs are out?
Everywhere.
Let's go get them then.
I'm ready.
Gregg and I are fishing in an area called Needmore Points. It's on the southern part of Sam Rayburn. And as this aerial shot shows, Needmore Points is a big grass flat. It's full of hydrilla and ideal for post-spawn bass. Now keep in mind, we're fishing in early May, and the bass have already spawned. We're going to be throwing topwaters. It's real early in the morning. These little Kentuckys and smallmouths are coming up and really tearing that topwater action up.
What we're doing is fishing a place called, like I said, called Needmore. And it's just a big flat. It's covered by hydrilla. It's probably approximately a couple, 3 or 4 miles wide. A lot of big fish hang on it. It's just a real popular area.
What kind of structure are we looking at here?
Mainly grass. There's ridges and cuts and some ditches and drains, which fishermen understand that fish have to have highways to travel, so that's what we try to look for. And what we're doing today is just trying to manipulate some of the ditches and drains and clumps of grass and see if we can't locate us a fish or two.
So those fish are basically just hiding then right in that those little channel type areas?
Usually the early part of summer they hide more on top of the grass instead of burying up in it. And a lot of times, like topwater bait, a pop-R, devil's horse, anything like that, anything that resembles a shad, something injured on top, these fish will chase them, or they'll actually come up out of that grass and get it. And you don't have to have a target to throw it, actually, just mainly throw at a depth of grass. That's, usually what we try to do. There's one. Come on, girl.
Well, we're out here about 7 o'clock in the morning, and Gregg's throwing a little topwater bait. Saw some shad hitting out here. We thought, well, maybe we can get them to come up on service in about 10 minutes here. Gregg has already tied in a little bass here. Gregg, we're on the south end of the lake. Kind of give us an idea of where we're fishing at here.
Well, this is what they call Needmore, and it's just a big grass flat. It's got ridges and cuts and ditches all in it. It's full of hydrilla. And today, like I was telling you a little earlier, we're going to be hunting just isolated clumps of fish just offshore. They're moving out because the spawn's over and the lake's dropping hard, and hopefully we'll find them on these little isolated clumps.
And we're about 15, 16 feet of water, so these bass are just coming up out of them clumps, aren't they, after it?
That's it. You go across the top of one, then you'll find a fish on top of them.
Okay, let's get some more then.
All right.
The topwater action on Sam Rayburn can be a lot of fun. Basically, when those bass start schooling, just chunk that old lure right out in the middle of them. Well, Gregg and I are going to move to a different part of the lake now called Buck Bay. And we're going to be throwing Carolina rigs in about 25 feet of water.
Well, what we got here is we're fishing right off of a big channel. And if I'm not wrong, I think the channel's called Buck Creek or something like that. Deep water, we're off the very ends of the grass beds. We're looking for fish that are ganged up. They're through with their spawn, they're feeding heavy. And this is some of the fishing I really like to do is this, 25 plus, 30, foot of water fishing. And sometimes you can find some big schools out here.
Hydrilla down there?
Hydrilla is away from us. We're not really concerned with hydrilla here. Timber lines, big ledges, sharp drop-offs, things like that.
Now we have a real sharp drop-off over at here.
It drops from about 50, well, it's a 15-foot break.
And what are we doing, fishing right on the edge of that break?
We're pulling our worms across the break.
Now we caught a fish on topwater and one with spinner baits, and now we've gone to the Carolina rigs to slow it down just a little bit. I guess like any fishing day, you just have to try a variety of and see what happens with them, huh?
Some days you have a little bit bigger pile, and what I call them is my dead soldier pile up here in front of the boat. The baits you go through trying to figure out what's going on. Some days are a little easier than others.
Well, as a guide, what do you feel like's been the most consistent for you over the years here in Sam Rayburn? What's caught fish almost on a consistent basis that you can almost guarantee fish every time you come out here?
Plastic worms.
Mainstay?
Mainstay.
Color?
No plastic. Colors, purples, grapes, plums, things like that.
You like the Texas rig them, or you stick with Carolina
Texas rig? Well, it's a combination.
Yeah.
But just fish plastic. It is by far the best producing bait on this lake.
Some people have a hard time fishing worms. Have you found that in your guiding?
Oh yeah. People just, it's not as fun because you don't get to see the strike. You have to feel the strike. But the results are the same when you pull the rod, or jerk the trigger, whatever. The fish are on the end of the rod.
Mm-hmm. What are the tips you'd like to give your clients when they're fishing with you, how to fish worms?
Mainly stay slow. Don't get in a hurry with it. Just take your time. Try to feel everything down there and be aware of what's going on with your line, because a lot of time a fish will pick a bait up and you really won't notice it. They can swim at you and your line will keep getting slack, and I've noticed a lot of customers that I've had not recognize that till they're right underneath the boat or they're going underneath the boat. And so you just have to be aware of what's going on with your fishing line. And I watch my line more than I do anything else, because that line, if it jumps, wiggles, or twitches, it won't lie to you. And a lot of times a rod, if you bump something, it'll lie to you. You'll think, well, that's a bite. And a lot of times it's not. But when that line moves, it's a fish.
Set the hook, baby.
Set the hook. Fish on.
That's what we're talking about, setting the hook.
Set the hook.
Just like that.
Little bit of fish, guys.
Once again, we're over here in this Buck Creek and have found quite a few bass up in this area. There's got him another big sand bass.
Come here, girl.
Well, in the post-spawn area, we're in about the middle of May, out here and Fish are a little aggressive this morning over here. We're about, what,
a little bit more
9
hungry.
o'clock this morning? And
They were a little tough on us earlier, but I think we figured them out now.
yeah, it's gone to deep water and seem to be holding off this deep water.
Thank you, little girl. And once again, we've moved deep.
When you look on your graph, Greg, what are you looking for out here? Somebody who doesn't know a lake very well, what are you trying to see on that graph to explain to people how to find these type areas?
You need to just go to the very tip ends of the grass beds where they actually dump off into the creeks or actually have a real sharp break, say a 10 to 12 foot drop. And just the only way to really know for sure if there's fish there is to drop a bait in on it. But you look at the ends of the grass beds, little small points that come off of them that drop into deep water. A lot of time during either the spawn's over with, the fish will gang up on them little bitty points out here, and they just feed on the shad that are swimming back and forth on the ends of the grass beds, because shad do gang up a lot this time of year. And that's basically what I look for. Just little bitty small isolated points that come off the grass beds, and the fish will hold on them. Some days you catch good fish, some days you catch a lot of fish. Yeah. There he is. Feels like another small fish, but we'll take him.
Yeah, we're catching a lot of these little small fish up in here, Craig.
Yeah. We'll have to hunt up some bigger ones a little later, but let's have some fun with these. Little Kentucky. The lake's full of them. Some days these deep spots are like that. You come in 1 hour and they're less than keepers, then you come back 2 hours later, then that's all you catch is keepers out of it.
Is there a slot limit on this lake, Greg?
No, so there's not a slot, but there is a 14-inch minimum on black bass. Now on your Kentuckys, it's 12-inch, and that's really the only thing they worry about.
Has there been any talk of maybe making this a slot lake, or do you think as a guide they need one?
My personal opinion, I don't really feel like Rayburn needs a slot limit. You've got so much water here, and like we talked about a little earlier, that the lake has a neat way of healing itself. So I really just, personally, there's so many fish here that I think a slot limit would end up hurting you in the long run. You get too many fish that nobody's taking.
There's a fish there. Maybe that's one of those coming up.
A little better.
Yeah, growing a little bit on us here, Greg.
Looks like you're finding the better blacks, and I'm cleaning them out for you. It's a nice little keeper black. That's our future.
That's what it's all about. Cooperate with me. There you go, right here. All right, settle that aggressive little sucker. He doesn't realize I'm gonna let him go back into his own environment. Nice little Sam Rayburn bass right there. Fun catching them, Greg.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Phil.
Fun catching them. And I hope that everyone realizes that you can have fun out here. Not always, everyone goes out on the lake sometimes looking for that huge monster bass, and a lot of luck involved. Right presentation, right places, right time is what it's all about.
That is it.
You have fun catching these small ones, but those big ones are down there.
I just like something pulling on my string.
Me too.
If it'll pull on my line, I'm happy.
Yep.
And if you catch a big fish, I'm talking 10 plus, that's just icing on the cake.
Well, people go fishing all their lives, Greg, and they're lucky if they catch a 5-pounder or 4-pounder.
That's true.
And they get down to these lakes that have the big fish on it, and it's just the excitement. You're a guide, you know what? They catch these big fish, and there's nothing like it in the world, and it makes you feel good.
It makes you have a great day. People remember those. But for sheer numbers, you can't beat her. It's a great place.
What makes Rayburn so good? Why is it such a good lake?
I've never really, it's the hydrilla, the amount of bait fish we have, it's the cover, the combination of deep water, the varieties of cover we have out here I think is the key. It gives the fish a lot of places to hide and mature and grow up. And when you have an area that fishermen, they never see a bait. I mean, believe it or not, there's areas out here that just people don't fish them. And those areas is where those fish go heal up and they get big. Like underneath the hydrilla, they can't get to them. Giving you a little fight.
They're gonna come up. Call those my dancing fish.
Fish on.
Yeah, got 2 dancing fish here.
Ooh,
Is that nicer one there?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
fish.
we got a nice one over here, Greg.
Oh, look at him go.
Good.
He just was mean.
Just mean ornery, as they call him.
Just mean.
2 at a time, Sam Rayburn. That's the way to catch them there, Greg.
Thank you. I try to keep us in this kind of fishing all day.
Small little bass, man.
Mine might outweigh yours just a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. I can't believe they're just down there banging on it.
Just hit one little area down there. A lot of fish are holding. Again, about 20, 30 feet of water.
There was 3 or 4 of them following her up.
A lot of fish holding down this little area.
When I hit this spot right though,
Well, let's go ahead and catch another one. What do you think?
I'm
Finish
ready.
this day off, catch another double. Done it 2 or 3 times today.
Yeah, we have. All these are good, solid 14-inch fish. I mean, they're just our deep water pattern.
And this is what was the 14-inch limit on this lake. And
That's it.
well, Greg, we've shown them a lot of different ways to catch these bass out here in Sam Rayburn. Throwing this Carolina rig, which has been fairly successful almost all day long.
Very.
That deep water pattern. That's what you specialize in. If someone were to come over here and hire your services as a guide, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call us at the tackle shop, Need More Tackle. It's area code 409-698-9430, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Now, if you're going to stay down on the south end, I encourage you to visit Need More Tackle if you need any kind of tackle or even tips of, where the bass are hitting over there. And if you plan on staying on Sam Rayburn, especially down the southern part, I recommend you staying at Rayburn Country Resort and Country Club. The resort offers a 27-hole golf course, swimming pool, 4 lighted tennis courts, conference facilities, and lodging for groups from 10 to 200 can be set up and relax in their country club dining room and lounge. For reservations, call 1-800-882-1442. Also located on the south end of Sam Rayburn is Piney Point Plaza. For all of your grocery needs and beverage needs, visit the Piney Point Plaza. It's a one-stop shopping center, and they carry a full line of tackle, groceries, and fuel. They also have a U.S. Post Office on board, and they have guide services. Piney Point Plaza is located on Highway 255 and 1007. Their phone number is 409-698-2309.